Howdy everyone, I'm Taz Thornton. Thank you for watching. Brace yourselves, this is likely to be a long one. If you are watching on replay, leave us a hashtag replay in the comments. I want to talk to you today and cover a few topics. I want to cover confidence and how to grow it, time travel and how to do it, and of course, well, we'll come on to the rest later because I don't want to bowl you all over it all at once. The first point, time travel. What's really, really important is that we recognize none of us have a time machine, but we do all have tools to be able to spread our time across the day. And I know that this came after confidence. I'm going to come back to that in a minute. Time travel. You'll have all heard people talking about time blocking. And I know you probably feel like you've been hit over your head with the time blocking cosh, but it is so important to get your head around this whole concept of time blocking if you want to be able to run a successful business and if you don't want to be running yourself ragged. Now, it doesn't have to be really, really complex. You don't even have to get one of those journals with the dots all over it. I don't use one of those. I do most of my stuff on this, just using my trusty phone. But I do allocate time each day. If I didn't allocate time each day, all those plates I spin regularly would come crashing down. And I promise you, if you're in the beginning stages of your business now and you don't have many clients, and you don't have much to do, and you're trying to be busy being busy, it's going to seem like much of a muchness and not worth your effort. But as your business grows, as you get busier, this will be important. So here's the easy way that I time block my days. Actually, it's not just your week. So it's not just your days, sorry, it's your week. So every Tuesday is marked off for admin and awesome sauce for me. I do not take clients on a Tuesday. I only work with clients 4 days a week. And the last week of every month, I don't see clients at all because that's my downtime, that's my reset time, that's my planning, my creativity time. On the rest of the days through the week, they go like this. 7 a.m. until 10 a.m. is online networking. And what do I mean by that? I mean getting onto LinkedIn, writing my posts, engaging with other people, doing a bit on some of my other social media channels as well, making sure that I'm fully engaged and creating good content and connecting with new people so that I constantly am building awareness of brand Taz. So that's every day, even Tuesdays, sometimes on the week off as well. 7 till 10 is that. Now, it's up to me whether I want to get up at the crack of Nat's bottom and get ready and get my slap on and get showered before that, or whether I want to squeeze that in afterwards. Honestly, it depends on the day I'm having and how late I've gone to bed the night before. But then when it gets to 11:30 a.m., that's when I start seeing clients. I see clients between 11:30 a.m. and between 5 and 6 p.m. depending on the day. And I always make sure that I schedule out at least half an hour between each client. You have to give yourself some downtime. The sweet spot for me is maybe 3 clients a day. 2 clients a day is really light. 4 clients a day is doable, but a bit of a push. When I've had really peak times, I've gone up to 6 clients a day, and that's a killer, and you don't want to be doing it. Why do I schedule my days in that way? Well, the online networking is really important. And if you're not doing that, come on. If you're in business and you're not properly using LinkedIn now, you're missing a trick. And if you need some advice on how to do that, you know where I am. A big part of the training, coaching and mentoring I do is on building your personal brand and your visibility and your confidence, which we'll touch on in a minute. So I can help you with that. There are lots of other excellent people I can direct you to who'll be able to help you with that as well. Please, please, please step out of your Facebook and Instagram comfort zone and go and look at LinkedIn, because it will reap rewards and it is a bigger audience and the organic reach on there is ballistic. I did a post on LinkedIn last Friday. So yeah, just a week ago today, I'm recording this. And when I checked this morning, it was 71,000 views. That's no payment, no boosts, none of that. Can you get that anywhere else? Anyway, if you need help, do that. So that's why the online networking bit, I'm not talking about networking meetings. I still do that too. I still go to 4N meetings, particularly if I'm foresighting, but I still do that too. But my online networking is really my social media stuff. Tuesdays, admin day, catch up, content for awesome source, where I work with my team on creating the best regular mailing that I can do for people. It's also sometimes where I write my blogs or start doing a bit of planning, catch up. And then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, that's the rest of my downtime. Now you might think, well, what do I do for things like when we're out of lockdown? What about seeing my PT? Things like that. We'll look at that gap. if I finish my online networking at 10 and I don't see clients until 11:30, that gives me an hour and a half to be able to go and work with a PT in between those times if I choose to, or to do whatever I want to in those times. Please make sure you're also building in time for things like tea breaks. Let's have a slope now. Make today awesome, important. Tea breaks and lunch breaks. You have to make sure you're giving yourself regular recharges. So that's it on time blocking, I think. Also, if you want to do wider time blocking, so again, you'll have already heard I take the last week of every month out and don't see clients in the last week of every month. That's me time, creativity time, recharge time, ideas time, just rest time. That's so important to let your batteries recharge again. You also might want to look throughout the year and pre-block out when you want to take holidays. You know, when we can travel again. But even if you go into MyGate, block out those times when you're going to take your holidays, and do that in advance of even booking them. Because if you don't, I promise you will fill that time up before you've done it. So that's time. That's how to create time travel. Of course, you don't really have a DeLorean, but if you do that, your days will last much longer, and you will make sure that you are not running around like a busy fool and achieving nothing. Somebody's asking on the comment stream, do I do a lot of walking while recharging? Yeah, I went for a walk earlier today. It was only a short one down to the post box, but yes, I do. I also have, we have an exercise bike indoor as well, and we've been doing a lot of the things like the Conqueror challenges. We've been doing, there's loads of these online sites where they'll give you, you know, medals and rewards. I personally like the Conqueror challenges, because you pay to do them, but they don't just send you a medal, they plant trees. So for every bit of cycling or walking or swimming or rowing, you can use whichever exercise form you like for it, they plant trees. You're putting something back into the environment. So yes, exercise for me is a big part of keeping my mindset where I need it to be and recharging. What else do I do? I've got a pull-up bar that I stick in one of the doorways. I've got weights. I've got kettlebells. I've got them all packed away nicely, and I can access them very easily. So times like this, if I can't actually get out to see my PT, she can keep me accountable via WhatsApp, and I can keep exercising. So exercise, massive. Getting enough water, massive. Eating good food, massive. And giving yourself enough downtime is massive. So let me skip back to the first point in the headline of this, and that's confidence. People ask me all the time. I work with people all the time on building confidence. But the thing is, I don't care what any of the big coachy gurus say. Don't care if you count me as one of those. I don't see myself as a blooming guru. I'm just someone who has learned lots of tools that worked for me, and I like to be able to pass them on to other people, whether that's mindset stuff, NLP stuff, coachy stuff, mentory stuff, or all of that stuff that I call hashtag hippie shit. You know, it's all brilliant. Spiritual energy, recognizing that we are connected to all things. We are all related. You know, you can't drop a pebble in the pool without creating ripples. So how do you get the best of that for your life? But confidence is one of those things. People think I'm just going to be able to find some magical confidence button and go, "Boo, you're confident." Let me tell you something, people. Confidence comes through doing. Confidence comes through doing far more than not doing. Now, sometimes I find people who are stuck in this rut. They're stuck in a vicious cycle of not having the energy and the confidence to get up and do stuff. But the trouble is, the reason they don't have the energy and the confidence to get up and do stuff is because they're not getting up and doing stuff. And that can sound like such a brain melt. It sounds like such, you know, a contradiction in terms. But confidence genuinely does come through doing. The first time I stepped on a stage, honestly, I was papping my pants. But it gets easier every time. And let me tackle something else as well that comes into the whole confidence mix. All these bloody coaches and trainers saying that you need to get rid of imposter syndrome. Here's my belief on that. You cannot get rid of imposter syndrome. You should not aim to get rid of imposter syndrome, because imposter syndrome is just the new funky name we have given to the little voice that sits inside your head. It is part of you. You should be no more trying to get rid of or kill your imposter syndrome than you should be trying to cut off your right hand. It's part of you. But what you do need to be doing is looking at how you can make friends with that. Your imposter syndrome, and let's just stop calling it imposter syndrome for starters. Let's just recognize that it's the part of our psyche that comes right to that little bit at the back of our brain. It taps into the amygdala. It also taps into a little bit of the activator system, reticular activation system, that helps us to remember where we've had pleasure and pain in the past. It keeps us away from pain towards pleasure, and it will also tap into our memory banks and try to remember where things have gone wrong for us in the past and stop us from doing any of that again. It's part of our makeup, but we can train it. Now, training that thing that we call imposter syndrome is not the same as getting rid of it. So if somebody says, I can help you to balance your imposter syndrome, I can help you to start making friends, turning your imposter syndrome into an ally so that it's no longer a problem, I'm all for it. But don't say you want to get rid of it or kill it, because again, it's part of you. You wouldn't want to chop your arm off. Why would you want to do that? Now, one of the massive reasons that I say do not try and get rid of your imposter syndrome is that it really can be an ally. Because if you are geared towards success, whatever that means to you, if you want to get out there and create massive success in your life, in your business, but more importantly, in your mindset, in your spirituality, in your joy core, that sounds a bit rude, doesn't it? In your joy core, let's not hashtag that one. If you want to start getting happy in your life, that would have been a much cleaner way of saying it. When you start to get to those giddy heights of success, that little voice that says, are you sure you're good enough to do that? Have you done enough training? Have you prepped enough? Are you sure you're not going to fall flat on your face? Are you sure? There's 5,000 people in that audience. Who are you to go and speak to them? That little voice will keep you humble. It will keep you absolutely dedicated towards learning and developing and delivering the best you possibly can for your tribe without turning into an arrogant a-hole. It can keep you humble. It keeps you a good person. It stops you from becoming arrogant, egotistical, all of those things. And let me just pick on something when it comes to ego. Ego and confidence are not the same thing. I can be absolutely brimming with confidence. Do I tip into ego? No, I joke about it sometimes. But anyone who knows me more than seeing me pop up on a Facebook ad or a Facebook video, or having seen me on stage or read my books, will tell you, can I be massively confident? Yeah. Am I an ego? No. Why? Well, that would be a longer story for another day, but it taps right into some of the spiritual teachings that I carry and that I pass on, where we see ego as something that's not to be fed. But confidence is fine. There's nothing wrong with being confident in your abilities. And for those of you who are into hippie shit and believe you tap into the universe, into great spirit, into spirit guides, into angelic teachings, power animals, spirit guides, whatever it is for you, if you believe all that stuff, how can you possibly not be confident? Because if I'm stepping out onto a stage, and I don't prep anything when I go and speak, you'll know that about me too. I speak from here, and I speak about only stuff I know about. I have that confidence to step out onto that stage because I know full well I have so much trust in the energy and the universe around me that if I dry up, I trust that something else will be fed or will drop in to allow me to serve that audience. So how can you say that you are spiritual and in tune with all that is, and then have an issue with anyone being confident? Either you trust your guides and the universe and all the energy around you, or you don't. It's that simple for me. And pride. Now, I think sometimes our parents and our upbringings have an awful lot to do with this one. There's all these sayings like there's no, pride comes before a fall. Self-praise is no praise. It's all bulldust, people. There's nothing wrong with having pride in your achievements. It's only boasting if you haven't done it, or if you're trying to hold it over somebody's head like some sort of weapon. Let me ask the parents in the room, are you proud of your kids? Are you proud of all they've become? Are you proud of the way you have steered them to become brilliant human beings? What's wrong with that? If you've won an award, there's one of my certificates there. If you've written books, if you've had accolades, if you've got some media coverage, if you've got some really great testimonials, if you've been able to really, really help people get to the next level, to overcome some of their own blocks, should you be proud about that? Yeah. Absolutely be proud. You need to stand in your power. That's the difference between being powerful, having power over someone, which we don't want, and stepping into that place of power. Power powerful. That's where it comes down to, powerful. And we can all aim for being powerful, filled with a sense of pure universal power, or our own power, our own sense of self. That's different. Powerful, good. Powerful, not so much. So you can be proud, you can be confident without being arrogant or conceited or in ego. But your confidence, comfort zones. I know it's a cliche. I know you're all sick of us coachy types talking to you about comfort zones. But what's important to remember is comfort zones are not made of elastic. Every time you push it just a little bit, it grows with you. If you stretch your comfort zone a little bit, it doesn't immediately spring you back to where you were. So to use my analogy of speaking gigs, when I've done my first big gig, I'm going to be a little bit more confident the next time because I've done it once. And of course, the topic's going to be different and the audience is going to be different. And my keynote's going to be different because, again, I don't script. I speak from not just from here, but from here and from here. I tell my truth. I tune into the audience. I deliver what the audience needs. And what the event organisers have asked me to deliver, I work on eliciting the change that we need, the transformation for that audience without scripting it. Because if I script it, I can't possibly play off the audience in the same way. Will I cover the same topics? Yeah, because my story hasn't changed. It grows every day, of course. Your story grows with you too. So you'll always have a stream of content. But every time I step out onto that stage, and I've done everything from, events where like 2 people have turned up in the early days, right through to thousands of people in big auditoriums and giant festivals with thousands of people all crowded around marquees. I've spoken at all kinds of gigs like that. And my confidence grows a little bit every time. But my arrogance doesn't, and my ego doesn't. And I'm able to stay in that place of humility where I can still recognize that my being chosen to come and speak to crowds like that isn't a given. I'm there for the grace of God go I. That's where that imposter syndrome helps me and helps me to stay in balance. So if you want to grow your confidence, find something where you don't feel entirely confident yet, and find something where you can just start to push the boundaries of that comfort zone a little bit, and then do it some more, then do it some more, then do it a bit more. It might be doing Facebook Lives. I know a lot of people feel really, scared about that. This is going also live into one of my groups and live onto YouTube. Hello, YouTube. It's going live across 3 platforms at once and being recorded so I can share it elsewhere if I want to. This isn't scripted. You might have noticed from the fact that I headlined it confidence, then time travel, and I spoke about time travel first. And then, I should have done confidence first. It's all good. It's all good. So maybe Facebook Lives is a way to grow your confidence. Maybe it's, starting to get out in the world a little bit safely, of course, and within the bounds of the law during lockdown. Maybe that will grow your confidence. Maybe it's picking up the phone and speaking to someone you haven't spoken to in a while. Maybe it's getting out onto social media. Maybe if you're in business, it's starting to tackle LinkedIn. Maybe it's blogging. Maybe it's telling some of your story instead of just sticking with buy my stuff all the time. These are all the elements where actually you can start to grow your confidence. You can start to stretch the bounds of your comfort zones. That's confidence. It doesn't come overnight. It comes through lots and lots and lots of little steps and take a little bit of a bigger step every time. Okay, so I think the last thing was goal setting. Now, some of you will know that I don't call goal setting anymore. Back in my corporate days, goal setting was my thing. And honestly, I was bloody good at it. And I still am. I used to set myself crazy goals that fell out of the realms of possibility. And every time I'd hit them. However, when I get out of corporate, let's just say after my breakdown and meltdown and total unraveling, I didn't feel quite as comfortable with some of those old corporate cliches as I used to. And when I thought about goal setting, it would just anchor me back into those times where maybe it was appraisal time and I'd had to write down my list of goals for the next year. And I wouldn't write down things that I wanted to achieve. I'd be writing down what I thought I needed to say. I'd be writing down what I thought I needed to say to tick the boxes for the right people. To get the promotion, to get the pay grade, to get the pay rise, all of the stuff. So I now set intentions. Now, intentions for me are far more holistic. It's not about just going into here and going, what should I be doing? It's about, what do I want to achieve? What's going to fill me up? What's going to make my heart sing and my soul shine? What's going to help me fulfill my soul mission? What's going to help me and also inspire and support and guide and help other people as well? What's good for my health? What's good for my mindset? All these kinds of intentions. And that can also encompass some of the more financial and material goals. But intentions for me are goals with soul, because they are more holistic, not just coming from your brain. They're not just what we think we should do. So I like to set intentions. Now, I was talking to a coaching client earlier today. There's a book that I read. I don't think I actually read all of it. I only read a few chapters. I must go and pick it back up at some time. And it's quite an old book now. I forget the author. You'll be able to find it if you Google it, I'm sure. And it's called Harmonic Wealth. And there's a concept in that book that has always stayed with me. And for me, I can apply this concept whether I'm talking about financial wealth or life wealth, abundance in all areas. And also I can apply this whether I'm thinking about it in terms of spirit and energy and all my hippie shit, or whether somebody is more left brain and logical, because it can work as a good metaphor as well. The point is this: wherever we are now, wherever I am now, let's just imagine that there are multiple different realities, or there are multiple different possibilities if you want to be left brain. So wherever I am now, there'll be all these different other life possibilities, everything from being absolutely in poverty through to having a massive mansion with, 6 private jets and 127 Ferraris all in your brand colors. And you might want to go, okay, this is where, get very, very clear. Clarity is massive in this. Get really, really clear about the life you want to be living. Even if it feels a little bit beyond the bounds of possibility, get really clear over the life that you want to create. Don't worry about whether it feels achievable. Just go for the one that you want to create. And what I mean by that is going far further than a flippant response of, I want to sit on the beach with a margarita and a good book. You'd soon get bored sitting on a beach, and you'd soon get bored of getting sand up your backside. Believe me, that's not going to fulfill you for long. So get really clear over the life you want to live, including the relationships you want, the career you want, the kind of income you want. Do you want pets? What's your house like? What are you driving? What's the decor like in the house? What colour's the front door? Make it as real and as tangible as you can. So that's going to be one of those different points in all these different life realities. One of them will be that one that you want. And the concept that I really took from this book, Harmonic Wealth, is that, let's say we get that clarity and we really connect with that future that we want to create. There's like a golden thread that goes from us into that future that we just need to follow. But every time we go into negativity, every time we go into disbelief, every time we break our confidence, every time we start to distrust our ability, every time we hit a downer, that thread breaks and it jumps onto one of those other lifetimes. Now, I like to believe I can bring it back. But again, for me, whether you genuinely believe that you are connecting up with your future possibility, with that future potential that you want to create, or whether you want to use that as a metaphor to help you keep your belief and keep your level of clarity and drive and determination to make it happen, that really, really works for me. It helps me really stay focused. And if I start to have one of those days where I'm just on a low, because I do get them as well, particularly during this third lockdown. If you've read the Medium blog that I wrote quite recently, that was you're struggling through lockdown, but you're a coach, go and have a read of that. I have struggled just as much as some of you will have done. I promise you, I've had some proper rough days. But when I start to go onto a dip, I choose to reconnect myself to that future I want to create, not just for me, but for my wife, for a family. And I choose to everything I can to reconnect and make sure that thread is connected. Because once it breaks, I don't like to believe that it's gone forevermore, but sometimes you have to put a bit of energy and effort into weaving those threads together again. So I hope that helps. Intention setting for me is huge. Every year, Asher and I will sit down and we'll do a ceremony. We usually do it round about Halloween, but as we would say from the old pagan tradition, Samhain, and we'll sit and create all our New Year aspirations and intentions. And we create ceremony around these. There's something for me about putting your energy into your intentions. I am going to go really hippie shit now. Sometimes we do it at traditional New Year. Sometimes we do it around about Samhain. And we will get big pieces of paper and we will write all these intentions, these things that we want to create, we want to live, and we'll write them in the present tense, i.e., what's a really simple one? I'm really thankful for the 50 grand I have in my savings pot right now. Rather than, I want to get 50 grand in savings. That for some of you will seem like a big amount. For some of you will feel unachievable according to where you are on that scale. Let me promise you, from someone who once not too distant past used to think that was unachievable, I promise you, 50 grand in your savings pot is fairly easily achievable if you are committed to your business and working it properly and your self-belief is there. But we would put that in the present tense as if we already have it. It's not about, I want to get this. It's, I'm really thankful for, I'm really grateful for the 50 grand I have in my savings pot right now. And we write streams and streams and streams of these things that we want to make happen, that we want to create, that we want to manifest. And then we have a little fire bowl. Sometimes we'll do it outside, or we'll have an indoor fire bowl in the middle of the table. And we will read each one. We tear them into strips and we read them out one at a time and then feed it into the fire. And for us, that fire, the flames and the smoke, eating them up, they symbolize taking our wishes, our dreams, our desires, our manifestations out to the universe. And every time we do that, we keep a record of what we've asked for. And every time a big chunk of that happens. Now, I don't care if you believe that's just cementing your own mindset on making it happen so that you start to spot the opportunities more and you build your belief. Or whether you really believe that it's the universe giving you a hand and it's spirit dropping things into your lap. I don't care. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how it works. The fact is that for us, it works. So what would your own ceremony be? You know, it could be journaling things, but there's something about speaking them out loud as well. When we give voice to something, it gives extra energy. It makes it more tangible. So there's something for us around putting your voice behind something rather than just keeping it in here or just writing it down. Writing it down is one degree of energy rather than typing it, actually physically writing things down, but also speaking things out loud gives them more power somehow. So again, whether you're left brain, right brain, somewhere in the middle, it doesn't matter because that's a spectrum too, you know, have a go. Gratitude. This is another massive part of intention and making things happen for me. Gratitude is at the center of everything that I do. I can find a way to be grateful for everything in my life, everything that's happened in my past. Some people sometimes challenge me over this, but I genuinely do not have any regrets, not one. Because for everything that happens, instead of approaching it with an attitude of why does this happen to me, I'll ask, why did this happen for me? Why have I needed to attract this, to call this into my life? How can I grow from this? How can I learn from this? And sometimes I'll go back over my timeline as well. And particularly paying attention to those things we have perceived as being negatives. What did I learn from this? Why did this need to happen for me? How have I grown from this? How has my learning through this situation contributed to the awesome person and coach and trainer and mentor and speaker and author that I am today? How has that situation and my growth through that contributed to the person I am now? And when we do that, we don't necessarily need to see them as negatives anymore because, you know, some of the best life lessons are delivered to us in really shitty wrapping paper. And that's okay. So gratitude, I say gratitudes every morning. Most of my tribe will know. I'll give them a task, and this comes from the medicine path, from the earth wisdom path. I'll always credit Chris Lutterchow, one of my most fondest medicine teachers, for this. I've worked with lots of different shamans and medicine teachers, but Chris is the one I worked with most solidly, looking up at Northern Drum Shamanic School. Excuse me. And he taught us all about the power of gratitude. And the appreciator exercise is that every morning I'll name 5 things that I'm really grateful for, that I really appreciate in my life. And it can be really simple things. I appreciate the sun rising every morning, even if he's sometimes behind clouds and I can't see him. I appreciate being able to turn on a tap and get clean water. I appreciate being able to hit a button on my kettle and it creates hot water for my pretend decaf coffee stuff, you know. I'm grateful for my cat's purr, for my dog's unconditional love. I'm grateful for being able to marry my wife, which was once illegal. To even be able to wake up in the same bed with her used to feel out of reach. You know, I'm grateful for facilities like this so that I can speak to you all live. And some of you will catch it on replay. So remember to put replay in the hashtags if you do that. You know, I can speak to you live here when in lockdown I can't have a physical stage. I can still use this to get a message out to help inspire, motivate, support lots of people. So this is all important to me. I can be grateful for all of these things as well as some of the more complex things. So I always say, and this comes from Chris, 5 things you appreciate every morning. And one of my adaptations to that is if you struggle to come up with 5 things that you appreciate, then let me put that light back on. If you struggle, excuse me, technical hitch. There we go. If you struggle to come up with 5 things that you appreciate every morning, then try coming up with 10. You go for 10, I promise you'll find 5. But everyone can come up with 5 things they appreciate every day. And if you struggle, have a word with yourself and start just looking around you and get out of your bubble. And, you know, I'm going to say something quite crude now, and I'm saying it slightly tongue-in-cheek. Sometimes when we can't see anything but shit, it's because we've got our heads up our asses and you need to pull it back out again. You know, sometimes it's all about perspective. It's always perspective. So have I covered everything? We've covered confidence. We've covered time travel. We've covered goal setting. We've covered clarity, being really, really clear on what it is we want to achieve. And revisit those goals, those intentions regularly too. Don't worry if they change, that's okay. We change and grow every day. So time blocking, gratitude, clarity, intentions. You know, it doesn't matter how much you strive for in life, but just make sure that on your way to those giddy heights of success, whatever that means to you, make sure that you are not setting out to cause harm. We will always cause some upset. Sometimes we won't mean to, but sometimes you're going to accidentally tread on an ant. It happens. And so long as we can take responsibility for that and apologize where need be and take the learning, that's okay. So set out to avoid causing hurt as much as you possibly can. Help as many people as you can on the way up there. And always remember to take the time that you need for yourself. It's very easy to focus on everybody else and not give yourself the care, the compassion, the succor, the holding and the downtime and the nourishment that you need. That's massively important. I think I've been talking for long enough now. I did warn you this would be a long one, and it has gone on for quite a long time, but I do hope it's helped. Whichever channel you're watching this on, please do leave me a comment. Please do tell me if there's something you'd like me to come back and address, or if you would like to, if you'd like to get in touch with me, if you want some one-to-one tasking, you know where I am. If you are feeling that's out of reach for you right now, there's a couple of online groups I run. There's Life Force, which currently is £19 a month, although for new, if you're already a member, that price isn't changing, but that will be going up soon. And there's also Unleashed, which I run with Asha Clearwater. Life Force is mindset stuff, left brain through to right brain, bit of spirituality. There's daily practices, there's weekly tasks to help you to just build your confidence, build your self-belief, build your self-worth, build your appreciation for the world around you, start to train your brain into a more positive mindset. And then Unleashed is for coaches, healers and therapists, which is how to build your brand, build your audience, get out there, be seen, build your visibility, learn how to create packages and price yourself appropriately, all of that stuff. If you want to find out more about those, you can drop me a line, or you can find them on the website. Or again, if you want one-to-one tasking, there are options where we can do one-to-one coaching, although I usually do have a bit of a waiting list, so do get in there quickly. If you want some in a few months' time, drop me a line now, and then we might actually be able to work with you in a few months' time. Okay, so I'm going to sign off now. Again, this has been a long one. I hope it's been worth it. I hope it's helped. Please do leave me your biggest teaching, your biggest take home in the comments, and I will see you all again sometime very, very soon. Let's all unleash our awesome. I can't unleash your awesome, you know. You need to do it. I can just give you some signposts, but it's up to you to actually unleash it. What is it I always say? I can't do sit-ups and grow your abs. You've got to do it. I'm there to support you every step of the way. Take care.